Hey everybody, thanks for watching another episode of Teaching Tuesday. This week we are going to go ahead and continue our series and starting getting into some comparisons between Batman and Jesus. I'm getting over a little bit of a nasal congestion sinus thing, so sorry if my voice sounds a little raspy. Hopefully it'll be better next week. So I also do want to warn that, or caution or state that I am not comparing Batman to Jesus. I am comparing. I'm not saying that they're one and the same. I do not believe Batman is Jesus. I just think there are some similarities to be made, and that's simply what I want to do. I also understand that there may be some things, Batman has different story arcs, and some things may be true about him in certain ways, in certain stories that aren't true in other stories, so I'll try to be as general as I can, but I may use a specific instance out of a movie or something like that to prove a point. So, also some of the things I may use will be Batman specific, as far as like really that kind of just relates to Batman. But there will also be things that you kind of go, I hope that you go, oh, that's also true with Superman, or you might go with Wolverine, or you might say with this event in history, or this person that I know, and that's kind of the point of the exercise, is to, as you go through this, I hope that you start connecting aspects of Christ with other events or other people, other characters, and so that you now have the ability to reach more people who may find an interest in that person, character, event, so on and so on. So if that occurs, if as you're watching and listening, you think of something, oh, that's also true with that, go ahead and post that in the comments. I'd love to go ahead and see what's happening as you're listening to all this. Excuse me. So the first thing that I want to kind of mention, start off our lesson here, is about the humility of Christ. I think it's such a big aspect of who Jesus is and what he did was just that he came to serve, that he really humbled himself. And I think the passage that, to me, that sticks out the most can be found in Philippians 2. And so let me read that real quick. It's Philippians 2:4. Each of you should look not only to your own interest, but also to the interest of others. Your attitude should be that of Christ, the same of that as Christ Jesus, who, being in the very nature of God, did not consider equality with God something to be grasped. But he made himself nothing, taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness. And being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself even to the point of death, even death on a cross. And when that is kind of summarizing, is saying that Jesus was at one time in heaven. He set that aside. He came down, took on the form of a human being. He took on flesh, and he became obedient. He came to serve his own creation and became obedient to the point of death, even one of the most humiliating deaths there are, death on a cross. Jesus' whole life here was about serving. He healed the sick. He fed the hungry. He cured those who had incurable diseases, and he had compassion on those who needed compassion, and he taught those who needed to be taught. So he came to serve. I mean, that Jesus was the epitome of a servant. And when you put that to who he was prior to coming here, I mean, Jesus in heaven. Oh, here's a good example. In John 1, it says, the light shines in the darkness, but the darkness has not understood it. And it says that in verse 9, the true light that gives light to every man was coming into the world. Jesus, while he was in heaven, prior to coming here on earth, had everything. Everything he ever wanted, everything he would ever need. He wasn't hungry. He didn't experience pain. He didn't experience death. No loss, no sadness, no sickness, nothing. In his deity form, he lacked nothing. He had angels worshiping him for eternity past. I mean, the angels aren't eternal, but you kind of get the idea that there's just nothing that Jesus really lacked. And at one point, he sets that all aside to step down into a world of darkness. So he goes from light to darkness. And when he took on flesh, the Bible's pretty clear that he experienced everything that a person does. He cried when he was a baby. He felt pain. He felt hunger. When his best friend dies, he feels sad. I mean, grief, just enormous grief. We know that when he fasted in the desert, he was hungry. I mean, Jesus faced in Hebrews, it tells us that he faced every temptation that we do. I mean, he knows what it means to experience the heartache and all the sufferings that we in the flesh partake in. And this is a huge thing because he does that to come to save us. Like, he doesn't do it because he was sitting in heaven one day going, I wonder what I'm going to do tomorrow. Maybe I'll go down and experience what it's like to be a person. No. He comes down out of selfless reasons to come and save us. So let's table that for a second and come to Batman now. Here's a kid who's born into a very, very wealthy family. All right, Bruce Wayne, his parents, Thomas and Martha, they're very wealthy. Thomas is a doctor, and he makes a lot of money. If you're not familiar with the story, when he's a kid, Bruce Wayne's a kid, his parents get gunned down in an alley. And this kind of sets in motion Bruce Wayne coming to Batman, becoming Batman as an adult. But Bruce Wayne, he inherits all of his parents' money. He is a billionaire. He's got everything that he could want. He's lacking nothing. He's not in need of anything. All right? He's got all the resources at his disposal. But as Batman, what he decides to do is he gives that up. Now, yes, he is still Bruce Wayne, and he still lives that kind of life as a facade so no one knows that he's Batman. But every night, he gives that up. He sets that lifestyle aside and goes into the dirtiest, darkest, dankest places in Gotham City. He goes to Crime Alley. He goes to where the criminals are. He goes down into the filth-ridden parts of the city to fight crime, to better the city, to save the people. It's not like Bruce Wayne as Batman has this desire to go down just to hang out there when he could be socializing with the rich and the famous in the penthouses of Gotham City, right? That's what he could do, but instead he humbles himself and risks his life. Now, he doesn't die in certain, in the largest sense, he doesn't die. But he puts his life on the line every night to go out and fight crime. So kind of in the larger sense, if you want to connect it all, Bruce Wayne would be like Jesus prior to coming to heaven, or coming to earth. And Jesus here on this earth would be more like Batman coming down into the crime alley, if you will, and fighting the criminals. And we are, I guess in a sense, we are the citizens of Gotham City as people on this earth. And we need saving, and we need someone to come down to do that. So I think that is the majority of it. If you want to continue the conversation, or if you have any questions, or you might not understand something completely, feel free to scroll all the way down to where you see the comments. Put your question in there, put your comments. I'd love to clarify anything. I'd love to continue this conversation, the dialogue, whatever you might have. And if other verses kind of pop in mind, I'd love to see those too. So please subscribe so you don't miss next week's, and we're going to continue this. Share it, and if you know anyone who might find this interesting, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.